we still have people on the ground who make fortifications in order to protect and use sight as their main weapon. How power sees landscape, military power sees landscape, fascinates me. We use vision as a form of control. And I can't keep slipping away from that idea. I increasingly find it fascinating how without sight, without vision, we are truly lost. You know, we use vision in such a physical way, in maintaining and controlling and surveying. And I think that's kind of interesting. Prior to going to Afghanistan, I did about a year of research. I found a photograph on the net of this base, this very one. And I said to myself, I'm going there. And because I knew when I saw this photograph I knew the place would be amazing. I just knew it. When I came across this image, it immediately made me think of my own work. You know, I'd seen these sort of structures in Northern Ireland, and in many ways it was exactly what I was looking for. This parallel was what kept driving me, and this, even though I was in Afghanistan, looking at Afghanistan, I felt in many ways, and at many times, I was still looking at my own country, which is sort of, which is an important context to put it in. But that idea that you find an image, and you think to yourself, I'm going to go there and make work about that place. And then you get there. It was actually an extraordinary feeling when I got there. You know, I landed in the evening, and I was sort of running, because I've been researching this area for like months. And then, you know, you get to experience it yourself. The Outpost is an interesting subject because it's a vulnerable thing in itself. You know, it's positioned in a very isolated, lonely area, and it kind of compounds the idea of the vulnerability of ourselves within a context of conflict, which is in itself a sort of futile act. And you know, while these photographs are in many ways made in an almost scientific sort of approach and very functional approach, they are, you know, they are emotional, and by the fact of what they are. This was an interesting day. This is OP3, Massamgar, highest point, and it was a foggy day. I woke up, pure fog. I thought, well, I'm not going to do much today. I'd already tried to photograph this area 3 or 4 times, and you enter it from behind that rock. So you enter it here, and you look here, and you have the wire here. I could never get a picture of it. It just never worked, And but I knew when I saw it, you know, there was something amazing here. So I went up on this foggy day, hence that you got that white behind, you know. So I was very lucky. Actually, I made quite a few pictures that day. I went over the wire and started walking, and of course, immediately you begin to feel unbelievably paranoid, because you're no longer in the safety zone of the fortification, and you're completely exposed. And for the first time, you actually realize maybe how the people below you must feel, you know. Anyway, I kept walking, and I turned and I went, that's it, I can see it. And I found my position, and you're completely open in the side of a mountain, you know, completely open. And I was just sure, you know, something's going to happen, somebody's going to shoot or something. But of course it wasn't going to happen. I mean, it wasn't like that. I took about 6 frames, went back, and then I went in behind the bunker there, and I just curled up there and stayed there for half an hour. And it's all psychological. It's not like it was great action or anything. It was all in your head. And you know, that was one thing that the place did do. It did create a psychological paranoia, especially when you went out or when you went across wires. I hate it. I hate the whole war thing. I find it terrifying, and I certainly don't see myself as a war photographer at all. And what I'm actually photographing it's not, you know, you're in a base, you're safe. The difficulty is when I wanted to go to smaller outposts, you would have to walk to them, or you'd take a drive in a convoy to them, and I just absolutely hated that. 2 kilometers would take 4 hours. You follow the footsteps of the man in front of you. There's 5 meters between you. There's 12 of you. I wasn't worried about people shooting and things like that. No, I was just terrified of roadside bombs. Absolutely terrified of them. That sense of paranoia of exposure was very powerful, and it actually made me empathise with those who live there.